Hey crafters, in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to crochet a simple heart without using a magic ring. So let's grab our yarn and our hook and head to the crafting table. First thing that you're going to need is your crochet hook. In today's video I'm using a size 5 crochet hook along with some regular worsted weight yarn. Obviously the bigger or thicker the yarn that you're going to use, the bigger or thicker your hearts are going to be. So make sure you're using the hook that corresponds to the size yarn that you're using. But all right, let's get to the tutorial. So the first thing that you're going to do is create your slip knot. So remember, you're going to wrap your yarn around your fingers, creating a loop. You're going to push your fingers through the loop and pull down the loop, creating that slip knot. It doesn't matter how long your tail is, and you can cut that off or weave it in at the end. So we're going to put our slip knot on the hook, and then the first thing that you're going to do is chain 5. So let's chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now the next thing that we're going to do, that we have our chain 5, is we are going to slip stitch into this last chain from the hook. So we're going to insert our hook into that last chain, and then we're just going to create a slip stitch. So remember, with the slip stitch, we just pull through both stitches. And now we have created a circle. So this is how you create the heart without having to create a magic circle, is you just form a chain and then you form a circle by slip stitching in the last stitch from your chain. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to chain 2, and you can hold your tail against the side of your circle, so that as we're crocheting, we're going to partially weave that tail in. So, but let's chain our first 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. All right, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to triple crochet or treble crochet into the circle. So we want to go inside of the circle. We are not crocheting into the stitches. So you are crocheting into the circle. So remember, to treble crochet, we wrap our yarn around once, we wrap our yarn around twice, and then we insert our hook into the center of the circle. And we're going to yarn over and draw through. And now we should have 4 loops on our hook. And then we're going to yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over again, draw through 2, yarn over again, draw through those last 2. So that is our first triple crochet. Then we're going to do a second triple crochet. So yarn over once, yarn over twice, insert your yarn into the circle, yarn over and draw through. We have our 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, draw through 2 loops, draw through the second set of 2, draw through the last set of 2. All right, so we have our 2 treble crochets. And as you're crocheting, you can move your stitches over, and that'll help create space within the ring. So now that we've done our 2 treble crochets, now we're going to do 1 double crochet. And if you don't know how to do any of these, you can check out my playlist for beginners that goes over all of these stitches. But we're going to yarn over once, insert our hook into the circle, yarn over, grab our yarn. We have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, draw through the first 2, yarn over again, draw through the second 2. All right, so now we've done our double crochet. Now the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to do 2 single crochets into the circle. So with the single crochet, there is no yarning over, so we're just going to draw a loop through. You've got 2 on the hook, yarn over, draw through, draw through. That's 1. Then we're going to insert our hook again, yarn over, draw through. That is 2, and you have to watch out for this tail. Sometimes it gets in the way. And so now we have our 2 single crochets, and now we're going to chain 2 again. So we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. And now you can take this time before we start on the other side of our heart to kind of pull on this tail a little bit so that you can tighten up any bumps that you have in the back. And now we're going to continue on, but we're just going to do everything in reverse. So we chain 2. And so remember, before we came here, we had 2 single crochets. So now we're going to do 2 single crochets on the other side. So it's 1, that's 2. All right, so that's our 2 single crochets. And then remember, our next step, we should be doing a double crochet. So we're going to yarn over once. We're going to draw our yarn through. We've got our 3 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2 again. All right, so now we've done our double crochet. And so now next we need to do our triple crochet. So we need 2 triple crochets. So remember, with triple crochet, you yarn over once, twice, insert our hook into the circle, draw our yarn through. We've got our 4 loops on the hook. So we yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. All right, that's our first triple crochet. So 1, 2, insert our hook into the circle. We're going to pull that through the circle. We've got our 4 loops, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through the last 2. All right, and then now our last thing that we have to do is we are going to chain 2 again. So 1, 2, and then we are going to slip stitch into the circle. So we're going to insert our hook, bring our yarn through, and then we're just going to slip stitch right there. And so now we have finished our heart, and we can kind of pull this tail a little bit. And so now we've finished our heart. The next thing that we need to do is we need to cut this tail. So let me grab my scissors. So now we're going to cut our tail. You don't need to leave a extremely long tail because this is a small heart, so you don't need anything extremely long. All right, we've cut our tail. We're going to pull the rest of our yarn through. And now we have created our heart. And like I said, you can pull on this a little bit. So now we've created our heart. So the next thing that we need to do is, if you like, having this hole here, which I don't, you can grab your darning needle and you can weave this in. Now, one thing I do want to point out to you guys about this one that I've made. So when I got to this side, I got a little loose with my stitches. And so as you can see, this part of my heart is it's not even, it's a little bigger than this side. But so you need to make sure that as you're going back through on the opposite side that you keep the tension the same. But I'm going to show you how to weave in these tails. All right, so you're going to take your darning needle. We don't want to work with the tail of the yarn just yet. So you're going to grab your darning needle and you're going to thread your needle. All right, so you can weave in this tail. And the way I like to weave it in is I will go into this first piece right here and pull it through. And see how I pulled that through and it started to pull this center of the heart down? So if you want your heart to, like I said, to tighten up that V area, that's what you're going to do is you're going to pull on that a little bit after we finish weaving our tails in. So I went through this top corner over here. So now I'm going to go through this stitch on this side, and we're just going to kind of zigzag through, making sure not to pull too tightly. So we're going to come back over on this side. And you see how tight these stitches are over here compared to the other side? That's how I know I did not maintain my tension as I was crocheting this heart. All right, so we're going back through this side. We're going to come back through to the other side over here. All right. Then we're going to come down here and weave this part in. And you see how when I weave this part in, it kind of created that gap there, which we don't want because we're trying to get rid of the circle. So I can pull that out because we don't want to see a hole in our heart. So we wouldn't have tried to weave it in. So we're going to go back through and kind of fix that. So we're going to go up a little higher here and weave that in. All right, there we go. That looks much better. And then we're going to weave in over on this side one last time. All right, I'm going to pull that piece through. All right, and so now we have weaved in our tails. And then you're going to take this one, you're going to go in through this bottom piece. And now when you pull on it, it'll tighten it up. And so now we've closed that up. We've kind of given our heart a little more of that V shape at the top. You can pull it a little tighter if you want to kind of help, like I said, make that V shape at the top. And then we are simply going to take this. You can take the tail end that we did not use and you can pull this too. And that'll also help to tighten it up a little bit. But what's going to happen if you pull it too tight, like this heart right here, I pulled that tail piece too tightly, and so it made kind of like this dip on the side of my heart, which if you're okay with that, then it doesn't matter. But if you don't want that little dip, you can see it a little better in this one. If you don't want that little dimple in the side, just make sure that you don't pull your heart too tightly, either when you're pulling the tail of the heart to kind of wrap it through and pull it through in the back, or when you're weaving in your tails and your tail, you don't want to pull it too hard because that will, like I said, start to pinch that side in. So we don't want that. All right, so now that we've got that, we're gonna weave this tail in, and then we will be done with our heart. So if you're good with weaving in tails, then you don't have to stay to watch this part of the video, but um, if you want to continue watching, by all means, that is fine with me. All right, so we are just going to take this tail and we're just going to put it all the way through down to the bottom of the heart because we want it to meet up with this other tail down here. So we're just going to take that, we're going to pull it all the way through, and then we are just going to tie these two pieces together. In a nice little knot. If you want to double knot it, by all means, you can. No one's stopping you. Have that extra little security. And then we're going to take our scissors and we are going to cut those tails off. And because this is all the same color, it should blend in seamlessly. You should not be able to see the knot in the back. All right, so this is the back of our heart. Now we can flip it over to the front. And now you have just created your first crochet heart. And but all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed learning how to crochet a simple heart without having to use the magic ring. If you have any questions, please leave them for me down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Keep crafting, and I'll see you in the next video.